You know, one of my biggest gripes with today's media is that I always feel like I'm being taken for a ride. It just seems like everyone from A through Z are at war for content. Perfect example, we have a whole bunch of podcasts now, especially in black media, former NBA players beefing with each other. We have a whole bunch of former rappers or current rappers podcasting right now, talking about the same thing. Some are at odds, others aren't. We have television personalities like Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock beefing constantly. I feel like I'm being taken for a ride, all in the name of content. Because I don't remember many moons ago, and let me just correct myself. Yes, people historically have always had issues in media, in sports, whatever, in music. We know that. But it just seems like it's an influx nowadays. Like, you can't go a day without a Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith sparring of words. You can't. I had time on my hands and I watched Stephen A. Smith rip Jason Whitlock apart for 30 minutes on one of his recent clips. 30 minutes. These guys are like, Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, 1985. Like, they're just going at each other. And then in the same breath, I was watching a couple weeks ago the Gilbert Arenas podcast, and a couple of those guys going at it with Raymond Felton and Charlie Villanueva's podcast. Then you had the whole fiasco with 50 Cent and Jim Jones. Then you have J. Cole going at it with Cameron. Not really going at it, but now popping up on Cameron's podcast when they were supposedly going to like some kind of lawsuit situation. I don't know what to believe in anymore, man. YouTube has become today's television, but it's starting to get as bad as reality television was in the early 2000s. So now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. What is there to watch? I used to come to YouTube for laughter, for knowledge. Now it's just nothing but chatty patties, and men in particular, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You don't even get good content from the people that you follow anymore. They've kind of taken a back seat to all these big personalities who have now flooded YouTube. Flooded. Every former rapper has a podcast. Every ex-basketball player has a podcast. They get hundreds of thousands of views. They get subscribers overnight. We don't know. There could be some little trickery going on, but that's neither here nor there. But it's constant beef, constant sparring of words. And no one wants to make nice anymore. Where does a small content creator fit in this world of drama, this world of gossip? Where does one go now when YouTube now is becoming theatrical? It's becoming like the daytime soaps. And I'm sure I'm missing other names. I'm sure. But there are a lot of big name personalities now who just can't stand each other. And I'm like, do they really dislike each other? Or is this all in the name of views? Maybe they're talking behind the scenes. Hey, let's conjure up this type of fake beef so we can both, eat off of this. Something's happening because I've never seen this before. And maybe because years past, people didn't have the platforms that they have now, so you couldn't get too much material out there to the masses. It was strictly newspapers and maybe a few online articles back in the good old AOL days. That's what we need to do. We need to go back to the AOL days when the internet was still innocent. I miss the innocence of the internet. That 1995, 96 innocence where you can go on AOL and go into a chat room and it was still new. Nobody was at war. Nobody was beefing. It was kumbaya for the most part on these internet streets. Now it's just, you walk into an intersection and you're bombarded. Television personalities beefing here, rappers beefing there, ex-athletes beefing here, current athletes beefing there, this girl beefing here, this guy beefing here, this community beefing there. What? I'm ducking and dodging. Like, what do? I just want to watch wholesome stuff. I subscribe to my wholesome channels. And again, these guys aren't even putting out content anymore. So now you're stuck. Your feed is just nothing. And I mean nothing but trash. And you can correct your algorithm. You can clean it up if you want. But somewhere in the wings is this short video popping up with a nice little headline. And you might click it once and you're doomed. Back to resetting that algorithm again. I've never seen anything like this, man. Some of my all-time greats, some of my childhood heroes just can't stand each other anymore. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. There's just too many issues. And I don't know if I'm being taken for a ride. That's the problem. Nothing feels authentic anymore. Give me the innocence of AOL. The world wasn't a happier place, but it was some calmness to it. When I would get an AOL disc in the mail and boom, I'd be on the internet for a couple hours and then that was that. There needs to be some limitations again because everyone's a mouthpiece now. I didn't know YouTube and Instagram and Twitter was going to be the place where celebs mouthed it off. Didn't know, but there's something to it. There's something to everyone now hopping on YouTube, hopping on these platforms, trying to get some type of traction. There's something to it because there's no money, obviously, in the music game for these rappers. These guys in their 40s and 50s starting podcasts. I get it. You probably can't talk about the same content of 20 years ago as a 45, 50-year-old. I understand. But not everyone needs a microphone either. And there's a lot of rappers, and I mean a lot, that have these platforms, and I'm just like, bro, what? These guys were quiet as a church mouse as rappers. You couldn't get them to talk about anything but their music, and you were lucky if you got a good few coherent sentences out of them back in their heyday. Now they're, the next Walter Cronkites. Everyone has a microphone. Everyone has an opinion. You got those who have faces for radio that are on camera now. Because everyone now is a main character. Everyone wants to be seen. I flipped it around a little bit. I took the camera off because I know there's a lot of content creators who can just throw audio out there, throw a little thumbnail out there and get traction. You don't have to be on camera, but everybody wants to be on camera. Everybody's a main character. Truer words haven't been spoken about this main character. And that's what Instagram and Twitter has created in today's society. Everyone feels important. And I'm not saying celebrities should be the only ones because I can't stand celebrities. It's almost hatred at this point for most of them. But the regular Joe Schmo feels like they're up there with the best of them because of their follower count or subscriber count. So everyone thumps their chest now and just look at me, look at me, look at me. I want simpler times. And I read a quote somewhere on someone's channel. Somebody in the comment section said, you know what? The closest I'm ever going to get back to the 90s and 80s is by removing social media and everything that's current today. That's the closest I'm going to get back to the 90s. And I thought about that for a second. I said, you know what? That's a brilliant comment. If I want normalcy again, I've got to remove myself from everything today that is considered normal. And that might be YouTube, unfortunately. Although I use it as my television these days. But I've got to do something because, modern day is just not exciting me at all. And with everyone beefing for content, it just has me raising my antennas. Are people really that upset with each other? Or is this just for the name of views and dollar signs? I'm on to you, punks. I'm on to you. I'm watching closely. It's no coincidence that everyone is at odds. All of a sudden, 20-year beefs just spoken about in the 2020s, never addressed 20 years ago. Something's wrong with that. I'm watching you guys.